I tell you, your churning has to be for both sides of the cycle. Yes, Baba wants you to think about golden age, silver age. He doesn't want you to think about iron age. But you're allowed to think about iron age
It's in an effort to become golden age.
if you become detached from it. Mhm. And think about it. Spin the discus of the cycle of self-realization. You are the 84 birth soul. How could you know yourself if you did not know all of your 84 births? If you're an 84 birth soul. That means, this is why I tell you, if you're detached enough, you should be able to know some of your iron age sun scars, the worst ones even, without any uncomfortability, unpleasant dislike, or whatever, because you're detached. When you can't face that, clearly you're not facing all of your 84 births, you're not realizing all the 84 births, and you don't want to know how you got that way. That's not a sign, a trait of an 84 birth soul. 84 birth soul has to know everything. They don't spend a lot of time on their iron age stuff, but they have no doubts, question, or confusion about their iron age stuff. They understand from their confluence age how they sowed it. They not, that's why I tell you there's so much detail in following what Baba says, but there's so much detail in the consequences of not following what Baba says. And unless you can figure out both sides of that, you will never understand why you'll have to suffer in Dharma Puri. Dharma Raj is letting you know all the things you didn't make any effort to face, change, realize. If you face, change, realize, Dharma Raj won't even have to be a surprise, right? You'll know. You'll know. Yeah, I know. I didn't do that. I shouldn't have. I don't get credit. I caused loss here, there, whatever, right? You know that you are now becoming Sato Pradhan. Of course, you don't dwell on that part of the cycle when you're still recovering from it, right? That's obviously the wrong time, but your effort should be recover from it, get detached from it, heal it so that you could realize why it had to happen. Otherwise, you're always left with these questions. Oh, yeah, I know, my intellect understands it should be like this, but my mind still goes there, thinks this, feels this. I can't control it, whatever, right? That's because you're not facing it. You're not owning, taking responsibility for why you manifested those things. Therefore, these people played their parts. Therefore, you had these negative experiences in the cycle. Right? Until you can face all that, one, that means you need Baba's help to let it go, because you won't let it go until you're healed. And therefore, that's why you have to go through Dharma Puri, right? Does anyone understand that? All it takes is courage, determination, honesty. And then you can face it, understand it, and then you let it go. Otherwise, you live in self-imposed amnesia. So you don't want to know. Suppression, right? Yeah, that's the thing. Like, so you turn and you get to know yourself. And you imagine yourself in these different places, and where does it click? Because what's going to happen as you're thinking about these things is you're going to find the sanskars that you actually lived, and they're going to match. And that's the moment you have a bit of realization. And you do that a lot, and you start to have more and more realization.
Doing that, is that what you mean by being Trikaldarshi? Like,
well, Trikaldarshi is an extension. You do Swadarshanchakradhari to come to know your sanskars and your parts. Because you know your sanskars and your parts, you can now see the beginning, middle, and end of your drama. And thereby you understand the consequence of choices. So therefore, when you see something manifesting in the Shrishti Chakra, you know where it came from, the seed, and you know when you see the seed of an action, a decision, you know what it's going to create. That's why I say to you, you gotta spin and spin and spin, because if you think, what is Trikaldarshi? It's the application right here and now of Swadarshanchakradhari. You'll make the choice based on what you can see is going to be the consequence. When you first start off with Swadarshanchakradhari, you don't know much about consequence yet. As you figure out your sanskars, you figure out consequence of action. And then, of course, you have that added bonus where Baba tells you that it's all been created in confluences. Not everybody wants to know that. Some of the things you've all been through aren't much fun. But there isn't anything, there are no bad parts. There's just bad actors, right? So this is why you got to be non-judgmental. You'll love yourself and be able to forgive yourself when you accept yourself. And if you're still in denial of your karmas and still get upset, hurt, wounded, angry over your karmas, it clearly means you haven't accepted your sanskaras, right? Therefore, haven't accepted your karmas. So that's why the only solution, however you want to go into whatever level of depth and detail, intellectualization, the only solution to your cycle is loving yourself. All that karma has taught you not to love yourself. And that's the only way you recover from all the damage you've done on the planet and all your different births. And of course, part of that is also called suffering of karma, karma bhog. But they call it karma bhog because you're supposed to eat it in happiness. It's not bhog, but it's kind of, I'm using a settlement of karma, but you should eat it like it's bhog. Right? I'm making a play on words. It doesn't mean that. But well, you don't know. He's Korean, so he go away. Brian just said. But essentially, that is what it is, right? You're being force-fed your karmas back to you. If you do it in a loving state, that means you let the karma get settled and you become light and detached. Of course, can you do that? You can't do that unless you're so conscious. You can't do that if you're not absolutely rock solid stable in Baba's company. So that's why you guys fluctuate. That's why you get scared. That's why it hurts. That's why, right? You see, I always remember that scene in the Mahabharata. This Bisham is so much more powerful than everybody else on the battlefield. Even the Pandavas, he could take him out if he had to, but he won't do it. He has so much love for them. There's more pain that he has to fight his Pandavas' children, his grandchildren, and take the side of Duryodhana in the kingdom for all of his silly reasons, basically attachment. There's more pain for him to have to go through that than being shot by Arjun's arrows. When he gets struck by Arjun's arrows, he goes, that could only be shot by Arjun. And he rips out the arrow. When Arjun's shooting the arrow, he's bawling his eyes out because he's shooting the grandsire who taught him everything that he loved so dearly. Right? So there's all these meanings being communicated, right? And so you have to understand why it is that you play the parts you play. What's the point of spinning the cycle? Why do you have to learn to spin the cycle like that, like without thought, like it's automatic every second? It makes you immune to all of this stuff, no? It's how you become immune to the effect of karma. Soul conscious, right? The soul is immune to the effect of karma when it is soul conscious. That is the teaching of the Gita.
So this is who I am, and this is all I know, and I must choose to live for all that I can give, the spark that makes the power grow. And I will stand by my dream if I can, symbol of my faith in who don't say goodbye.